The truth is that you can't threaten the Igbos should Tinubu lose election 2027, that the Yorubas will declare war against the Igbos because Tinubu eventually lost election. Well, heaven will not fall if Tinubu loses election. In fact, Tinubu do not meet the re-election bids to remain relevant. Tinubu is one of the most fortunate politicians in the history of Nigeria. He is celebrated, accomplished. Well, he might not, of course, he may not have lived up to expectations by the people or generality of Nigerians. But judging him by his political antecedents and adventures, eventually he could be considered within the defined or within the context of Nigerian political cycle as a well-celebrated and successful politician in the history of Nigeria. Now, that is personal. He has set the goal to become the president of Nigeria, which he said that has been his life ambition. And God being so kind, let me use the word, God being so kind, regardless of his manipulative tendencies and strategic moves, and alignments and block and the rest of them, eventually saw him through becoming the president of Nigeria, the Grand Commander of the Armed Forces. And to him, I say congratulations to that because he lived out his aspirations for more than 3 decades. He has been working towards this according to his statements or projections. And when you consider his antecedents, I said he is the most celebrated and successful politician, of course, going by personal achievements or goals set for himself. Nigerians may not have felt, of course, the good part of his government as people, majority of Nigerians are lamenting the continued killings, poverty, the violation of the Naira, and very difficult life, of course, Nigerians are passing through. But let me come just a minute. Now, Tinubu has been a senator, of course, of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also a governor of 2 times. You know what that means? He has been in control of the Lagos state politics, and by extension, of course, the southwestern region. He have ensured the emergence of several governors influencing beyond the Lagos, the shores of Lagos, just as Osun, Ibadan, Oyo, and the other. Of course, Ekiti sometimes, he played a very pivotal role in ensuring, of course, who becomes who in this region. Undoubtedly, that is to tell you the weight of his influence in the regional politics. So he has been in control of Lagos even up to date, more than close to 3 decades. So you know what that means. So he's one of the most celebrated or cerebral politicians in the history of Nigeria. That you can't take away from him. But one thing is very clear. There is time to go to the stage, and there is time to bow, of course, out of the stage. These are what you must define. If by any means you want to overstretch your relevance, then that might be a very, of course, devastating and very dangerous mistake anyone might contemplate. Tinubu has been fulfilled. He doesn't need second term to feel or have a sense of fulfillment. Tinubu has become whatever anyone might even aspire to be. As I rightly said, he is one of the best politicians, successful politicians, dead and alive in this country. He is the only one who has become the senator, the governor, 2-time governor, and the president. He have controlled several political, of course, outcome decisions and strategies. He was pivotal in the emergence of Buhari, who would have no possibility of becoming the president of Nigeria. Eventually, he was through these collaborations, of course, with Rochas Okorota, who unfortunately has been booted and relegated. That is just the truth. Now, coming back to one Afenifere, of course, threatening the Igbos that should Tinubu lose election 2027, that the Yorubas will declare war against the Igbos. On what basis? That is an act of irresponsibility. And by now, I expected Tinubu, His Excellency, to have called him to order, or possibly the DSS to have arrested this reckless statement. How could he be inciting such crisis, of course, that might possibly lead to breakdown of law and order? What has Tinubu to lose if eventually lose 2027 election? Tinubu eventually has nothing to lose. It's only the sycophants around him who, of course, are projecting and, of course, strategizing to become one minister or the other, are making these senseless and irresponsible statements. I strongly believe that Tinubu, of course, do not send this guy to make such destructive statements. Tinubu might not be in a know of that. Whether Tinubu loses 2027 election, Tinubu, he is the president. He is one of the most accomplished presidents in the history of Nigeria. Nobody has come closer to his records. That is just the truth. For more than 30 years, he has been in control of Lagos. And by extension, he should be considered the most richest politician in the history of Nigeria. I'm saying this not just because I just want to make statements, but these are obvious realities. If you put your eyes down, somebody who has been in control of Lagos for close to 3 decades would be not just the richest politician in Nigeria, but across Africa, if not the world. That is to tell you the weight of his personality. So what else did he stand to lose? If the people said, okay, you have contributed his quota in the service of humanity and his nations, irrespective of the fact that people, of course, might have different perception about his personality, but the truth that he have aspired and he have accomplished his lifetime ambition of becoming the president. So on no account should anybody, because of Tinubu, create a problem he cannot solve, his generation cannot solve. Because looking way back from the history of Nigeria, the most region that have enjoyed alliance with the North is the Yorubas. Now, when it comes to the Nigerian arrangement, we have three majority, of course, ethnic majority, or ethnic nationality. Three major tribes are the Hausa, Igbos, and Yorubas. And the two major tribes happens to fall within the southern region, which is the southern Nigeria, the Igbo and the Yorubas. Now, for decades, the Yorubas has been aligning for decades, several decades. The Yorubas have been aligning with the North. They felt better, secured, more advantage aligning with the North than their fellow Southerners, or the Igbo, of course, region of the South, to gain undue advantage of the Igbos. Now, since the return of democracy, let me not go back, stretch it far back, of course, history. Since the return of democracy, a Yoruba man has become the president of Nigeria for 8 years, citing, of course, Obasanjo. A Yoruba man has become the vice president of Nigeria for 8 years. That is Osibanjo in the picture. Now, if it happens to be the turn of the South, who should legally demand to produce the president? If it is the turn of the South, of course, the Obasanjo went. When it is next the turn of the South, the Igbo man becoming one of the majority, of course, the major tribes within the South should be the one to produce the president. But Igbos are being robbed of their rights to produce president by the same Yorubas. When it was Igbo turn, the Yoruba jumped out and said, "It is my turn, Emiloko, Emiloko." Nobody is considering this. That is pure injustice. That is pure criminality. That is pure imbalance. When they say it is the turn of the South, who are the South that deserve that turn? That is what many people fail to present in the arguments. So I consider the statement of that man, or the deceptive, crafted statement, trying to incite or send certain signals or panic that people should be afraid to consider the fear that what will happen. Heaven will not fall if Tinubu loses election, because Tinubu is already an accomplished personality. He has lived out his life. So other regions should also be given equal opportunity, an opportunity to try to manage this country. It does not belong to the Yorubas. It does not belong to the Yoruba. Why is it that the Yorubas politicians are greedy? Well, I certainly believe that he's not speaking on behalf of the Yorubas. I know there are more responsible Yorubas who does not align with such sentiments. That's why I will not generalize the concept. These are greedy, selfish politicians or people trying to buy favor, with Tinubu and the rest of them to be considered for the crumbs that may fed off, from the table, and the rest of them. They are the ones making this divisive, destructive, and inciting statement. Not Tinubu. Where is that justice? Where is that fairness? And you have the audacity to insult the intelligence of your listeners that Igbos and Yorubas will be at war. Who should be even at war? Who should be more concerned? Igbos have been robbed of their rights, of their due legitimate rights. If the power sharing or the sentiment of zoning is being, of course, zoned to the North, then the North have the advantage, just as Buhari completed that of the North. Now, when it is back to the South, what should be considered? Which region of the South has benefited in the past? Then the region who have not felt, who have not have a fair share of the zoning arrangement should be given the opportunity. It was the turn of the South in 2023. And who should be considered among this? If you are arguing that this is, if you to be allow, of course, obliterate the opportunity of the South to produce, who are the South in this context? If he is sincere, why are some men irresponsible to the fact that they can't live to defend the truth? Who should be the one to be considered by fairness, by justice, by considerations, by all considerations? And Tinubu came and said it is his turn. And everything is history. P2B widely won 2023 election, confirmed by some APC, of course, chieftains before they left APC. The likes of Nasir El-Rufai confirmed that P2B won the election of 2023, which it was rightfully the turn of the South. And in the South, who should be considered in this instance? Of course, the Igbos, as one of the majority ethnic nationalities. You have the Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. So when it comes to the South, the Yoruba should take their own time, and when it is next, the Igbos should produce, or their Eastern brothers. But that wasn't the case. Igbos were able to swallow all those subjugation, humiliation, embarrassment, just for peace to reign. And now you are provoking the Igbos, you are provoking them to wrath. But daring to say that you are going to declare war, the Yoruba will declare war, the war will go on. Have that not been war? In as much as we promote and encourage peace. So you only declare war just to suppress people and take undue advantage of them, and you'll be happy. But if you are the one receiving and the receiving end, you won't be happy. The whole world will boil down. The heaven will fall. It is time to address these issues. It is getting out of hand. You can't continue to threaten the people who have survived the most brutal war in the history of the world. For 36 months, you can't continue to threaten them. Sowing the seed of discord among the Yoruba, I understood that these are political statements just, to re-strategize and the rest of that for political interest. But if other regions begin to do the same way, the Yorubas are treating the Igbos, of course, the whole world will collapse in a day. So I think this particular individual should be cautioned. I strongly believe that he is not speaking the mind of the generality of the Yorubas. So he was to ignore such, of course, reckless statement coming from him. As I rightly said, that I expect Tinubu to direct the DSS to squeeze this man and caution him so that the Tinubu's name should not be dragged to this mess. I strongly believe Tinubu is not in support of whatever nonsense he's voicing out. It is actually nonsense. If Nigeria decides who becomes their next president, why is it the fault of the Igbos? Now, if it happens to be the turn of the South, and Tinubu wins, fine and good. If P2B is in the contest and he wins, fine and good. Is it not in the turn of the South? Why should you be threatening the Igbos? Or you believe that is the turn of the Yorubas? Who says that? Who says that? The Yorubas have enjoyed 12 years of presidency, 8 years of vice president, which means 20 years of presidency since the return of democracy since 1999. Which one has the Igbos become as the majority of the ethnic nationality that form the three major tribes in Nigeria? Which one has Igbo enjoyed that you have the audacity, the effrontery, the recklessness to speak without being guided? Or you think that Igbos will be cowed or, of course, cajoled by that threat? It's Akwasia. What the hell? How would you be pushing the people to the wall and still don't want them to bleed? That can't happen. How on earth could that be allowed to happen? We promote peaceful coexistence, we promote tolerance and the rest of them. But you can't take advantage of the people and you think you can silence them? This shouldn't be the era of Operation Wetier between Akintola and Awolowo. It shouldn't be extended to the Igbos. Let it be confined. Let the history, of course, limit it to Akintola and Awolowo experience. Politics shouldn't be a do or die affair. There should be fairness and considerations. Now, when you say that the Yorubas know how to play politics, they are lying with the North, to gain advantage, what you want, you position yourself. Okay, possibly Igbos may not have been doing that in the past. Igbos don't know how to play politics, but if eventually they have learned and they have woken up to learn, they want to know how to play politics by aligning with the North, which the Yorubas have enjoyed for several decades. The alignment with the North. And oftentimes, the Igbos have supported massively the Yorubas, just like Obasanjo is profiling, of course, Obi to be the president. He knew that Igbos have done, of course, has kept their own parts, has done the needful when they needed to support, to back up the Yorubas when it comes to national, of course, issues. Now it is the turn of the South. Who deserve that turn in the South?
Yes, so don't threaten Igbos with war should Tinubu lose 2027 election. The man there, the Yan of Pata, in fact, is just saying nonsense. The man thinks he's wise, saying that this will happen, this will not happen. Would they fear all this nonsense? Have you guys not started doing this whole thing? Okay, has Yoruba gone to war before? Once lion is always a lion. The xenophobia attack is about to start in Lagos if Igbo decided to come out for upcoming elections. I advise them to boycott election as Igbo to stay alive. That one is not going to happen. No? That is a very stupid statement. He'll be moving the cowards. Bring it on. They should not vote for waiting. Bring it on. Let them bring it on. Who is saying this? That the Igbo should stay. They should boycott the election. So that what will happen? Yoruba no get liver for war. Then I see the government. I they won't say use now. We don't even pray for war. But if Yorubas want to fight, see now, it is a Yoruba person that said it too. If it is an Igbo person that said it, they would have invited him. With this statement made by this man, because it's a threat. It threatened the entire Igbos. Because I don't understand. I don't even understand. I don't even know how they resolve that matter of the Ezendi Igbo of Lagos that just talk about IPOP that time. Quickly they arrested that man. This man, is he not supposed to have been arrested? I'm sure that a lot of problems that our Nigerians are just even going through is what has made some people have not even been able to call the attention of the appropriate authority to arrest this man. How can you come out? So what are you saying? If it were to be an Igbo person just from a somewhere that is not just popular, they will get to know the person and arrest the person. Drawing the battle line against the Igbos, a Yoruba saying is only the Igbos that voted against him. Peradventure, if he loses the elections, get this into your head. Igbos don't pray for war. But if some of you feel you want to hear the drum beat of war, we the Igbos are not even afraid of it. Once beaten, twice shy. It will be a different ball game. We are fully prepared for the worst, but don't even push us to fight back, because if we do, you will definitely not even live to tell the story. You can know the beginning of a war, but you cannot know the end. As well, a successful drug lord and certificate forger, politician, Yoruba president. Obi Kwakwanso revolution will produce Peter Obi and Kwakwanso in a new Nigeria. Let Yoruba people try it first. Go and ask Britain what they saw when they deal with Igbos with war. Yeah, well, let's keep our finger crossed. Nobody just open up and be saying what is not.